I mean, that Gaza announcement,
Mar-a-Gaza.
Mar-a-Gaza. I think we just start with the news clip here that set everything off. I think President Trump met with maybe Netanyahu last night, long meeting, and then he tosses this one out.
There. I'm talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know. Nobody can look because all they see is death and destruction and rubble and demolished buildings falling all over. It's just a terrible sight. I've studied it. I've studied this very closely over a lot of months, and I've seen it from every different angle. And it's a very, very dangerous place to be. And it's only going to get worse. And I think this is an idea that's gotten tremendous, and I'm talking about from the highest level of leadership, gotten tremendous praise. And if the United States can help to bring stability and peace in the Middle East, we'll do that. Bibi?
I mentioned again tonight our 3 goals. And the third goal is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea. And I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think it's something that could change history. And it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
There you have it.
Yeah. I want Tinfoil Tom's translation of what just happened up on that stage.
I think it's like one of those moments where it just totally came out of left field. I haven't talked to people who work in the administration, so maybe they've been thinking about this. I could have sworn it was talked about in his first administration, except I'm not thrilled because American lives would be on the line. You'd need to send in the military, and that makes me extremely uncomfortable, especially in the Middle East. We don't have a great track record there. But the prime minister puts it in a better perspective that at least Donald Trump is thinking about it and approaching it in a unique way that nobody else is. So I'm willing to give this president a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Well, I think like all charges of isolationism just flew out the window for sure. You don't promise to like build the Middle Eastern Riviera with American resources and American troops when you're in isolation.
Direct quote. It has the potential to be the Riviera of the Middle East. Unbelievable. Gaza Lago.
But already, though, a Democratic congressman filed impeachment paper saying that Donald Trump is calling for genocide in Gaza, which it's cute nowadays when they try to impeach the president. It's like, oh, you go ahead, you go do that. It's going to be fun to watch.
Did you see the Chuck Schumer "We Will Win" chant?
Oh, right. Yeah. He's chanting again outside government buildings.
Yeah. With Ghislaine Maxwell.
And all that.
After you lost every single way possible. I mean, there's so many different elements to this, right? Like, so currently we still have American hostages in Gaza. Gaza currently is rubble. He's not wrong. It's been bombed to hell by Israel. There are Hamas is hanging on to the people there. It's an impossible situation. There's estimates of 45,000 Palestinians have died over the past couple of years. There's no food there. There's food scarcity. There's no hospital access there. It's complete rubble. And then, as Trump said, like, if we were to take it, Americans would have to go through and sweep it for bombs. I mean, there's just bombs all over this place. So, I mean, of course, hilarious that Democrats now are going to get up with impeachment here for ethnic, quote unquote, ethnic cleansing. He did say that it'd be open to the world's people, I think. He wants Jordan and Egypt to take some Palestinians. They've been unwilling to do so for quite a while now. Do I think that it's as serious on its face? No. No. This is how Trump negotiates. So for all the people, I could see people being frustrated, of course, as like a major campaign promise for Trump was, we're not going to be nation building. We're going to be getting out of these forever wars. We're not going to be threatening American lives when they don't need to be threatened. This seems like a divergence from that. But at the same time, I could see it as, all right, what would be worse to Arab states than the United States taking over the Gaza Strip, like having a foothold right there? I could see like the worst possible option. Maybe that would just encourage some of these Arab states to try to work towards solutions. I'm really not sure where this goes. I truly am shocked. I don't know what this sparked, but I think it definitely sparked something different than the current situation.
Right. And I think we need to look at the pattern of the foreign policy so far. So remember, just a few days ago, over the weekend on Saturday, these 25% tariffs are going to kick in for Mexico and Canada. And the energy that the media and the Democrats spent over, weeping over cans of Corona, and this is going to destroy our economy. Oh my gosh, and blah, blah, blah. And like, attacking the principle of tariffs and trying to give economic explanations of what was going on, only to find out that within 24 and 48 hours, respectively, Mexico and Canada come back, having caved to many of our demands and offered assistance in all these things we want to do. And Trump's just like, oh, well, that's great. We're going to just pause them for 30 days and make sure you do what you say you're going to do. So again, I don't know what went into his proposing this in front of the world press, standing next to Bibi on the stage there.
I think Netanyahu body language, he was shocked.
Yeah.
He didn't look like he knew that was coming.
Yeah. Just from it was great. It was fun to watch. But I think we gotta, and now the left is like, oh my gosh, we're nation building, neocons unite. And like, there's something else going on here besides Trump wants to go colonize the Middle East. That we really
a lot
just
of federal workers right now who are currently looking for employment. So maybe we just solve two problems with one and send them all to Gaza to help rebuild and
clear the
they can stay there and
sweep for bombs,
sweep for mines.
I saw a UN damage assessment released in January showed that clearing over 50 million tons of rubble left in Gaza in the aftermath of Israel's bombardment could take 21 years and cost up to $1.2 billion.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It is a lot. And for better or for worse, the United States has an interest in the Middle East. I mean, we saw what having hands off in some of these areas led directly to 9/11 in many ways. And I think that just completely pulling out and being isolationist isn't an option, and it's not Trump's long-term goal for the region. Now, going in and completely occupying Gaza and making it a United States territory or whatever this would look like, probably is like, again, art of the deal going on here. Yes, in the chat. But at the same time, there's a balance going on that we've got to figure this out.
And peace there is important to all the neighbors as well. And Israel's not a poor country. Saudi Arabia is not a poor country. None of these countries are poor countries. So maybe, and I'm not calling for the UN because the UN would just make things worse. But maybe there is possibility for some sort of coalition effort led by the US where we're not footing the whole bill and what we're promising is stability finally in that area.
Yeah, it seems most likely to me. Just kind of like a kick in the pants to countries around that area to start working towards solutions. It really is. It's in no one's interest for that to be a perpetual bombing zone.
No.
And you would think, I don't know, just I'm probably the most sympathetic probably to the Palestinians, especially the Christians there, of people that I talk to. But I'd imagine that having Hamas control that region isn't ideal either. I mean, if the United States were basically to offer some reprieve from just being completely run by terrorists, I would say that's a win. I personally am also not very much an interventionist, so I might be uncomfortable with an American toll of life that would be required there. So, what I will say, I do like that this is an out of box solution. What has been going on for the past 100 years is unsustainable and just will continue to be horrific. So, Netanyahu's staying for a couple more days. I think he's going to meet with JD Vance and a couple other people. They're still working on the ceasefire and hostage transfer stuff. I think they've started phase 1. I think Steve Witkoff said that they completed phase 1 and now they're moving on to phase 2. So,
right.
Really
one thing is certain. I mean, Trump had said that, look, if this hostage deal doesn't go through, if we don't get our people back, all hell will break loose. That was before the inauguration. And I see this as just, also signaling to Hamas that this is what hell could look like for you if you don't complete this deal. Because they agreed to return all 33 hostages. We only have 13 back so far, and the Americans are still over there in the tunnels.
Yeah.
So he's also in the middle of trying to get the deal that is on the table completed. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I mean, that literally happened last night. So not a lot has been flashed out.
We had to rework the loop at like 10 p.m. Thanks, Trump. He really does hate journalists because every piece of breaking news happens after 6 p.m. He's like, back to work, guys. Yeah, he really does hate journalists.
I despise a lot of journalists too. But
yep.